Welcome back to Out of the Blue. Franklin Delano Roosevelt's GI Bill was designed to help veterans returning from World War II reintegrate into American society. But it ended up having far-reaching consequences for higher education as a whole, and the University of Michigan in particular.
Everyone knew that there was going to be this tremendous influx of veterans back into what would be a peacetime economy. All of them were going to need jobs or education, some way to reintegrate them into American society. And these were very large numbers, millions of people. And one of the key tools was that there were going to be funds provided for education of all sorts. It allowed this extraordinary boom in higher education. It really transformed American higher education for decades to come. You know, in the 19th century, the early 1900s, a college education was something that was just for the elite. Tiny percentages of men and women went to college in that era. But it wasn't really until the GI Bill that very large numbers of people would have access to higher education. This put an enormous burden on the university and all of the environs. The university came up with an emergency plan in the fall of 1945 to put some veterans into temporary quarters that were built around the corner of Hill and Division where the Coliseum is. And this was called the Veterans Emergency Housing Project. My parents lived there that first year. My dad was starting law school, and they've always said that you could hear if somebody was eating a stalk of celery on the other side of the wall. That's how thin the walls were. This was a different crop of students that were going through the university. These guys who had been through this traumatic experience of wartime, and they were also older than the normal run of college students. They were notoriously good, dedicated students. Many of them had already started families or were in the process of doing so or wanted to do so quickly. They wanted to get through those programs and get moving in life. It brought about a certain change in the tone on campus. The old business of fraternity and sorority hijinks and a heavy emphasis on social life, which was still very prevalent in the 20s and even into the Great Depression in Ann Arbor, that fades away to a certain extent in the late 40s and the early 50s. And it's really the GI Bill that creates that great jump in enrollment that transforms the university in terms of the number of students.